Island. This is a quick tutorial video for you to help you catch up with a few things on our timetable assessment task. So the first thing I've done is I'm in Replit. You know how to do that. We've done that in class. I'm just going to create a brand new Replit. So it's just creating a new one. It's going to be HTML5. I'm just going to call it Timetable Tutorial. All right, and I'll just hit create. Now, once you've created the Replit, you should know that it already sets up a couple of files for you. It sort of lays it out for you a little bit. The first thing it has an index file, index.html. That's the first web page, and it has a style.css, and that's where the style comes for this web page, right? In fact, this style goes for all of the web pages, okay? Now, the link to that is this line here where it says link href style.css, and it's a style sheet. So that's how it links the HTML file to the CSS file, okay? So you don't need to do any of that, it's already done for you. Now, as we start to look at getting the marks and the rubrics for the HTML, the very first thing you have to do is you have to do a title, all right? So on this title, on this page, I'm just going to change the word Replit and put timetable. So that's one mark straight away if you can put that timetable heading in. Now, the way that the website works is the head, which is this section from here to here, that's where all the thinking goes on, and the body, which is from here to here, this is where we see everything on the screen, all right? So we're going to be working in the body section to start with, and we're going to put in the first couple of things that we have to put in that are prerequisites again to get you a mark. We get rid of this hello world. The first thing we have to do is we have to put in a heading. So we put this H1. Now H1 is a heading style, and you'll see when I do the first H1, it does the close of the H1 as well, because these are tags and they work in pairs, all right? So it has an open of the start of a tag and the end of a tag. Okay, so this one's going to be our heading, so I'm going to call this timetable website. Okay, so now I've put in my H1 heading. Okay, now as part of the rubric you also have to put in an H2 heading. Now headings can go from H1 all the way through to H6, and they're all different sizes, and you'll see when I preview this website the H1 will be big, the H2 will be like a subheading a little bit smaller. I'm going to put by Nicholas May. Okay, so that I've got my timetable website by me. Now, the very first thing I want to do on my website is I would like to put in some buttons. I would like to put in the 5 buttons for the days of the week and 1 extra button which is called About Us. That's part of the prerequisite for this assessment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tag called an anchor tag, which is an A, and inside that anchor tag I'm going to create what's called a class, and that class is a way to design the style of the button. Okay, so I'm going to write class equals button and then space button1. So this is where I'm telling the style sheets, this is the style that I want to use. I want to use the button1 style, which we'll get to in the style sheets shortly. So I'm sort of saying this is a style that I want to use. Go to the style sheet later, look at that style sheet and find button1 and then use that style on my actual website. So that's what the class does. Okay, so in here I need to have a link for where my button goes. So I write href, which is a hyperlink reference, and it tells where to make this link go to. And I'm actually going to make this go to monday.html. So this is going to take us to a new page called monday.html, which we're going to create shortly. So this is our home page we're creating at the moment, but we're also going to have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and this is going to be the link to get to those pages. Okay, so monday.html, I close with my we'll close my anchor tag there. You can see I've closed that there, but I've only done the first anchor. I've only done the A. I haven't done the \A to close it. So in here I'm going to write the word Monday, and then I'm going to close my full anchor tag with the \A. So now that will have created a single button, one button that, and it'll just look like a word on the screen at the moment that has a hyperlink reference with the word Monday. In fact, let's run the screen really quickly just to give you a preview. If I hit run, you'll see there's my H1 heading, there's my H2 heading a little bit smaller, and there's my first button which just says Monday, and you see the mouse changes as I run over it. So that's my first hyperlink, okay? Now I'm going to make a whole pile of these, so what I do is just go highlight it all, Control C, go down here and just paste it, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, like that. Now I need to go and make some changes. So this is going to be Tuesday, next one down needs to be Wednesday, next one obviously Thursday, Friday, and about me, let's just say that, okay? Now, I've changed the words that'll come up on the screen, but I also need to change the links as to which website they're going to go to. So I'm going to change that to Tuesday.html, Wednesday, this one will be Thursday. Now, when you're making these HTML files, you need to make sure there's no spaces. It's not, you can't have Friday spaced 4th or something like that. You need to actually just have no spaces. I'm just going to call this one about. Okay, so now I've done all of my hyperlinks. There's a few spaces here. I'm just going to take them back. That's just being a little bit neat. It actually would still work if you had those spaces in there. I'm just going to take them back. So now I should have all my buttons. If I hit run, there we go, we've got all my buttons. One of the problems is they're all next to each other, which I don't like, and I've spelt Tuesday incorrectly, so I'm just going to correct that. So we could put in next to them a break, a BR, which will make them break. I'm not going to do that right at this moment. I'll show you why in just a minute, but I've got my buttons set up. Now, one other thing I want to do is I want to be able to work on all of the buttons at the same time, right? So I'm going to actually create in here what's called a div, which divides the page up. So I'm just going to go div in here, and you'll see it does the back of the tag. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put that down the bottom here. And I'm going to give my div a class. So that means I can style this section completely. And I'm going to call this head button because it's like the heading button area, right? So I'm going to call it head button. So now this div means I can move this whole section around on my screen. It doesn't have to stick to the side of the page. I can just edit it and change it around a little bit in my style sheet. So I've just created this div. Now it actually doesn't do anything to the page. If I run it, it looks exactly the same. Nothing changed. I've just put it into like a box that I can move around. So that's the first part of my website done. That's actually the HTML side of it. Pretty much finished. I've done everything I need to do. I've got H1 heading, H2 heading, I've done my title, I've got an anchor tag. I haven't put an image in yet or any writing, which you do need to do for your rubric, but I'll show you how to do that shortly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and work on the style. So I'm going to go over to the style section here, and you'll see there's nothing on the page. Now when we're on the index, remember I said that all of the stuff that you see on the screen is inside the body, right? So the body's the first tag there. There's the close of the body. So everything inside here is inside those body tags. So when I go to my style, the first thing I want to do is I want to go to the body, and I do curly brackets, and I'm going to change the background color. So I just type background color. Notice the word color is spelt with the American spelling. That's just the way that it works in CSS. So I've just gone body background color light blue. And if I hit run now, you'll notice that my page has changed to light blue. So the style sheets change the look and the feel. The HTML is the content, what's on the page. Okay, so that's just a standard section of HTML with a little bit of style just there, background. Now, I want to style these buttons. These buttons annoy me that they're just blue words like this. So I need to create a button style. Now, because I wrote the word class, I have to put a full stop right at the very start. That's what a class represents, just a section. And I've just put a full stop there to say this is a class. This is not just a normal tag, it's a class tag. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do some special things with the button. I'm going to start off by giving my button a background color, its own individual background color, and that color is going to be white. So I'm going to have a white button on a light blue background. I'm going to put the color of the writing on top of that. I'm going to make that writing black, so it'll be black writing on a white button. I'm going to put a border around the outside of it. border, and that border I'm going to actually put, I'm going to make it 2 pixels, it's like the fatness of the border. I'm going to make it a solid border, and I'm going to make it purple. Okay, so I'm actually styling the way the line looks around the outside of my button. I'm going to make my button a certain width. So I'm going to make it width, I'm going to make it 125 pixels wide. And you'll notice at the end of every single line you have to put your semicolon in. If you don't do that, the next line won't work. The height, I'm going to give it 25 pixels. Okay, I'm going to text align. So this is an important one, text align. Text align center, again spelt the American way. I'm going to text align center, which means the text inside my button is going to be right aligned in the middle of the button. It's not going to be off to the left or the right or not justified. I've actually aligned it right in the middle. I'm just going to put an extra one in here called text decoration. You don't always have to do this one. And I'm just going to say none. So I don't want anything special done to the text necessarily. I can still change the font. I just don't want anything to be done. I just want it to be like no special features, just standard text. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is the display. I want them to display in line, right? So I want them to display sort of, if I put a block of them together, I want that block all to be in one straight line. I don't want it to be sort of skewed and all in different positions. I'm going to change my font size, and my font size I'm going to put in as 16 pixels. Again, I'm just putting in some values here. You can change all of these values, and you can play around with yours, and it'll change the look and the feel of your buttons. Okay, so these are just values that I've used in the past that I know sort of work for a button for me, but you can put in any size button you like. Now I'm going to put in a special one here, transition, and I'm going to put in a transition duration in here, and I'm going to put it 0.4 seconds. Again, because I've done this before, I kind of know what I'm doing. And the reason I'm going to do that is we're going to have the button change from one color to another, and we're going to have it change on the cursor. So I'm going to change my cursor to a pointer so that when the mouse goes over it, it looks like you can click it and it'll change and that sort of stuff. I'm also going to put round corners on my button. So I've got to do a border radius. Border radius, where are you? Border radius, which just puts round corners on my button rather than having a square button. So I'm just going to do that as well, 12 pixels, semicolon. And the last thing I'll do is put some padding. So putting some padding on means that the buttons won't sit on top of each other. Look, if they're designed badly, or if they're all close together, or there's lots of things on the screen like on a mobile phone screen, there'll be padding around them, there'll be space around them. So that's designed basically my first button. All of that stuff is designed the first button, but in my HTML, all of these have the same class and the same style, so they're all going to get the same button style. So I only need to do it once, right? So I've done that one styling there once. Now I also want my button to change when the mouse goes over it. So when we did the style, actually this is a class as well, so dot button, we also did button one, and this one's going to be a hover state, which means that when the mouse goes over it, it'll change what it does. So when the mouse hovers over the top of the button, we're going to change the background color. And you'll see what I mean when I show you this in just a minute. We're going to change the background color, and let's make it navy blue maybe. That sounds good. And let's change the color of the writing. If it's navy blue, you don't want white writing. Oh, you don't want black writing on it, you want white writing on it. So let's do that. So that would be good. And I want to line up all of my buttons underneath each other. And we did the buttons in a div called head button. It was a class, so I need to put class head button. To try and line your things up, that's what I'm doing. Just trying to line everything up makes it much easier to read when you go back to it later. So I'm just lining everything up, and we're going to align this in the center. center. There we go. Semicolon. Okay, so here's my styles. I've got my standard style, which is my body of the whole website. Then I've got these class styles of button with the mouse over the top, which is hover, and head button, which is the div we created to put all of the buttons in. Okay, so now let's see if all of that works. Let's hit run. And here we go. We have got a timetable. We've got a heading 1, heading 2. We've got our buttons like this, which is perfect. They look good. The mouse rolls over them. They change from white with black writing to navy blue with white writing. So they change and they all look like they're good. So our buttons look pretty good. There's a number 2 down here. I'm not sure about that. So I'm just going to go back to my website. And look, I've tapped the number 2 down there. So I just need to get rid of that. Run it again. So this is the basic section of your website. This is the main thing that you needed to do, was to make these buttons and make it work. So I've got the days of the week and I've got Monday. Now, if we go back to the HTML, there's a few things we could do. And you'll notice that as I do my website, as I change it, in fact, if I run it in full screen, you'll see that the buttons are all next to each other. Now, you might not want them next to each other. You might want them underneath each other, okay? So if you want to do that, what you can do is at the end of each of these buttons, you can put in a #BR, which is called a break. And what that does is like a return on your computer, right? So if I put the break in, I should be able to put one there, break, 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 save, run. And now you can see my buttons are all on top of each other. So I've got my days of the week if you want to do it that way. Okay. Now the other thing is that the text is aligned over to the left at the top. I could go back into my style sheet here, go into my body section here and do a text align center, and then these 2 headings would move over as well. I could change the color of the fonts in here by putting the word color in and then putting whatever color heading I wanted in there as well. This is where you can style the whole website, where you change the way the whole website works. But this is the basis of your whole website. You've got it started. There you go. Now, we go to the index page. We've got our buttons. Everything looks good. I'm going to just create one more button here. I'm just going to copy that last one, Command-C. I'm going to hit return and then go Command-V, paste. And I'm going to write this last one. I'm going to type in index.html and I'm going to change the words to home. And I'll show you why I do that in just a moment. So remember, the page we're working on is called index, right? So this link is actually just going to link back to itself, and it's called home. So on this page, it's not so useful. But in a minute, we go to here and we say duplicate this page. And this time, instead of it being called index copy, we're going to call it Monday. And now if I go to Monday's page, I've already got a home button which will take me back to the very start, okay? So what I could do is on my index page, I could delete that home button, and then on my Monday page, I could delete the Monday button because you're not going to link to yourself, okay? So for example, I'll show you how this works. Let's do something different on the Monday page. Let's put in here, and this is what you actually do have to do. You could have timetable for Monday, you might have science, and your first lesson could be at 8:45 a.m. and for science you'll need your book, you'll need your lab coat, and you might need your laptop. Okay, so that could be your first thing that you're doing on a Monday morning. You're going to have science, you need to do this. And we could even put this inside a heading. Let's put it inside an H3 heading, so it's still a bit of a subheading right there. In fact, let's put the word science inside the H3 heading, and then we can leave the rest inside what's called a paragraph, which means it's just standard writing. Okay, and I'm just going to copy that. So you notice what I'm doing, there's a tag at the start and then there's a tag at the end. So that has set up now a line that I can copy. All right, so Command-C, go down to here, Command-V, paste it again, return, Command-V. Okay, so science in there. The next one we're going to have is maths. The next one's going to be English. Okay, for maths, it's going to be at 9:30, say, for example. 9:30 a.m. and we need pens, comma, books. We don't need our lab coat. We do need our laptop. Okay, and then for maths, It's going to be at 10:15, and you need your calculator. You don't need your lab coat, you need your laptop. Okay, so you can see I've put 3 things in for this day: science, maths, English. They're all inside a heading. I've put times for all of them, and I've put the things that you need. That's one of the prerequisites of the rubric of how to get your marks. You have to do those sorts of things on the timetable. And I did all of that on the Monday, all right? So now let's go and run the page, and we'll start off on the index page, because you always start on the index page. So here's my index page. It's got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, home and about me. So I'm going to go to Monday, and you'll say, oh, Monday looks the same, except that now I've got my timetable down here for this day, okay? Now, it's silly having a Monday button on Monday. We're already on the Monday. So what I would do is on the Monday page, which is here, I'm going to delete the Monday button. I don't need the Monday button on the Monday page, right? And then so on the Tuesday page, I delete the Tuesday button. On the Wednesday page, I delete. So you don't need a button back to itself. Now, the reason I didn't delete it on the index page to start with is I want to duplicate this page over and over again. In fact, maybe I'll duplicate the Monday. Let's go back and go Command Z, there we go. Now let's duplicate this page. Duplicate. We're going to call this Tuesday. Done. Let's duplicate Tuesday. And we have Wednesday. Okay, I'm just going to do one more. You understand that you need to do every day of the week. Duplicate this one. I'm going to call about. Just about, right? Because on our link we just had about.html, even though on the page it'll be called about me. Now, this is where the title comes in. If I go to the about page, I want to change the title in there to about me. About me. There we go. On the Monday, I'm going to go and change the title in here to timetable Monday. Okay, obviously Tuesday, I'm going to do timetable Tuesday. Okay, now I'll show you this bit about deleting the lines that I was talking about. Okay, so on the about page, I'm going to delete the about link because you don't need it to link to itself. On the Monday page, I'm going to delete the Monday link because I don't need the Monday link in there. On the Tuesday page, I'm going to delete the Tuesday link. Okay, so like I said, you don't need to link it to yourself. Right, now, obviously on these other pages, Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to go through and you're going to change these sections, right? You're going to change what is actually going on those days. And you might even decide to do that above the buttons. You might put it in up here above the buttons. So let's preview the page in general. Let's preview the whole website. So at this stage, here's my website. In fact, let's go full screen. Here's my website. I've got my buttons for the days of the week. They've got a nice button on them. They've got round corners. They've got a rollover. We've got a H1 heading, an H2 heading, and we've got our days. I hit Monday. And when I hit Monday, I've got these are the things on Monday that I need to do. You can style these. You can put them in the middle of the screen. You can put colors. You can change. Put a box around them if you want to do that. All of those stylings is great. All that extra stuff that you might want to do is fantastic. You just use the style sheets to do that. And if you need reference for that, you can go to a website called W3 Schools. And you might write in there how to put a colored box around my thing. Although we've already done that with these buttons, you could be able to just play with the styles and copy some of those styles and put it around here, okay? So let's go to Tuesday. We go to Tuesday. Tuesday takes us here. If I wanted to go back to Monday, see Tuesday's gone now, I could go back to Monday. That works. I could go back to the home page, which gives me just the buttons. Now, this is the key one, about me. When you go to the about me page, you need to write, there's 3 or 4 different things that are on Canvas as your criteria that you have to write in this section. Now, if you have a good look on Canvas, the things are functionality. How did you make the website function? You need to write 2 or 3 lines about that. And all you do is you go down to this section here, delete this section in here, and just write functionality as your heading. You might make it an H4 heading or an H3 heading or whatever you like, functionality. And then in this section here with the P for paragraph, you're going to write how does it function? How does it work? You have to do one on color. You have to do one on developer, which is you, and you have to add an image. Now I'll show you how to do that really quickly in just a moment. Then you have to do a reflection. How did you go building your website? Now, I can't really show you how you did all those. They're all up to you. The only one I can show you is your image, which I'll do right now. Okay, we go down here. We create a new tag like this, IMG, and then you put href. No, you don't. You put src, which is source, equals, double inverted commas, alt, equals, double inverted commas, close that. Now, I'll explain this little bit of code to you. This is saying add an image. src is add, this is the source, and you're going to put the name of the file that you put inside in there. And then you're going to put alt is the alternate text. If the image doesn't load, what comes up? So I'm going to put a picture of me. Right, so the alternate text would be, if the picture doesn't load, then the words "a picture of me" would come up on the screen. Now in here, what you have to do is you go to here and you go add file, and you're going to add an image file in here. Now I think I've got one on my computer. Let's have a quick look. In fact, let's go upload file. And if I go to my documents, I think I've got a little picture of Spider-Man somewhere. There it is. Oh no, it's a Coke bottle. Oh no, here it is, Spider-Man Small. All right, so I've got one here. It's called Spider-Man SML. I upload that, and you'll see here it's uploaded right here. Now the name that goes in here has to be exactly the same as the words that are there. So capital S, Spider-Man SML .png. Okay, so what I've done is I've said, put an image in. The source name is Spider-Man SML. I've uploaded the Spider-Man SML into my file here, and I've put in the alternate text, a picture of me. So now if I go to the About Me page, hit run, go to the About Me, scroll down, there's a picture of Spider-Man at the bottom as well, okay? So you do have to add an image as well to make it work. You can also style the image too, right? Now, if you need to do that, you go to your style sheets. You can see all these different style things in here. If we were going to style an image, we would go down to here and we would go IMG, double curly brackets, and then you could put some style in here. So I might say width is going to be 30% of the page. So I write width 30%, run. Okay, I'm going to go to the About Me, and you'll see the Spider-Man should be huge now down the bottom if it's 30% of the page width, right? Oh, he's bigger, right? So the Spider-Man's bigger down there. So you can style images as well, or if I make that, maybe I'll make that 50% so we can see a real change. Okay, About Me. There we go, substantially bigger. All right, so you can style anything that you type into your index section or into your HTML files. You can style any of it, right? So on the About Me here, because it had an IMG there, I've decided to go to my style sheets and style the IMG just there. Okay, that's it for the video. You should be able to complete everything on the on Canvas with just this video. I know it's a little bit long, but it should help you out. If you need any other help, let me know. Thanks.